This review was made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
Hey guys, and welcome to my 12th anniversary! "12 years of reviewing means 12 segments of which is better. So let's just dive right in and get this party started. Which is better, The Clockwork Girl or Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart? Ah, steampunk. What a wonderfully whimsical and morbidly maligned little visual aesthetic you are. You're so fun to play with, but so few people want to play with you properly. Too many think it's just a matter of throwing some gears and gauges at something without taking into account that a lot of its charm comes from the fact that it has to look like it's actually serving some kind of function. The same holds true for the subgenre clockpunk, which these two movies are slathering all over themselves. Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart is about a boy who has his heart replaced with a clock because reasons, and it thinks that it can make up for its lack of story by seeing how far it can shove its head up its own ass with how artistic it is. Why is Jack's mom collecting the tears of her bespectacled cat? Why does no one think it's weird to install a xylophone in someone's spine? Why does the movie think it's okay to call attention to a 10-year-old girl's nipples making Italian ice cream cones suddenly grow over them? If you have to ask, then explaining it would just be an exercise in futility, you plebeian. The Clockwork Girl tells the story of an anthropomorphic pile of junk and a monster boy made of biological leftovers, solving the mystery of a strange disease that has spread all over the world. Or maybe it only spread to their little town, the movie's kind of vague on that point. It's ugly, the story makes no sense, but to its credit, it's actually trying to tell a story. The world in which it's set is very confusing, but you get the sense that it wouldn't be so if they just put a little more polish into what's already there, as opposed to being confusing by way of artsy. So, which is better? The Clockwork Girl.
Yeah, I'm divorcing you. Happy anniversary.
Which is better? Monster Family or Halloween Town High? I love me some Halloween, as you might have guessed. I love movies about monsters and ghosts and haunted houses, and it really pisses me off to see the things I love diminished and sugar-coated for the sake of making them appealing to kids. Remember the Universal monsters? Those things weren't exactly rated R, you know. Monster Family shows us a rather monstrously dysfunctional family being terrorized by none other than Count Dracula himself. Except rather than make him a credible threat with his comic book super genius level intelligence, they ruin him right off the bat by making him a clinging, whiny little loser who sucks his thumb. No, I don't care that they show it for only 2 or 3 seconds. Those 2 or 3 seconds are right at the beginning of the movie, and it completely ruins the character. Halloween Town High is a special continuation of the special adventures of Special Marnie, a special young lady who's a special witch because she's special. Can you tell how much I love Marnie? Because I really love Marnie!
Is it a special love?
Yes, it's a very special love! Yeah, not only is Marnie the worst character for demanding that we love her for being a witch, when she's an absolutely terrible witch who hasn't even passed level 1 magic after several years of study, but every monster and ghoul in Halloween Town has been reduced to an embarrassing shadow of what they are. No one is scary, no one is trying to be scary, and everyone is outright offended by any implication that they might be scary. Hey, Disney executives, we indulge in Halloween because we like to be scared every now and then. There's nothing wrong with making Halloween scary. So, which is better? Because it ruined only one Halloween creature, Monster Family. Which is better, Dear Dracula or The Little Vampire? Continuing with the theme of monsters being ruined for the sake of putting them into children's media, Dear Dracula features a little boy who writes a letter to the titular count, asking him to bring him a Dracula doll for Halloween, because apparently this world has gotten so bored with vampires that people confuse Dracula with Santa Claus. Little Sam here is apparently some kind of horror movie enthusiast, never mind how he actually made the argument that Twilight is supposed to be scary, and he and Dracula become friends as he somehow teaches the Count how to get his vampire-y groove back. Seems to me like he could do that a lot more effectively by biting every small child on his block and leaving their empty husks in the middle of the street, but what do I know?
Apparently you know how to be a sick freak.
Vampire. The little vampire features better animation and Jim Carter as a delightfully fanatical vampire hunter, but this movie is far worse. It's bad enough that Dear Dracula gives us a world that was no longer afraid of vampires, but the little vampire gives us a world that has no reason to ever be afraid of vampires. Like the creatures of Halloween Town, these vampires aren't scary, and they actively go out of their way to not be scary, i.e. drinking the blood of cows when they have nice, juicy children they can feast upon. Hell, it never even occurs to this vampire clan, which consists of over 200 vampires, to rush the one vampire hunter that's chasing them and be rid of him forever. This movie implies that vampires are a race of weak, impotent pussies, and anyone hunting them is doing so not because vampires are a threat to humanity, but because the vampire hunter in question is just kind of a jerk. So, which is better? Dear Dracula.
And, might I add, that Dear Dracula didn't have our heroes saving the day with cow shit.
Also a point in its favor.
Oh, that stinks!
Which is better? The Land Before Time or Alpha and Omega? The Land Before Time. Ding. Next.
Baby, we've talked about this. No cop-outs.
Fine. As if I really need to go into further detail. The Land Before Time series fell from brilliance to mediocrity ever since its first sequel, but at least mediocrity was as far as it did fall, and at least it had somewhere from which it could fall. At best, the first Alpha and Omega movie was... and the sequels didn't so much fall as plummet into, oh my god, what were you people thinking? And to the Land Before Time series' credit, they never made any jokes about living in suburbia, or Christmas, or driving cars, or anything else that the wolves have no business knowing anything about. So, which is better? Land Before Time. Which is better? The Queen's Corgi, or Lady and the Tramp 2? Unfortunately, Lady and the Tramp fell into the same sequel abyss that Alpha and Omega did, in that the main characters of whom we want to see more are sidelined for their irritating offspring. Scamp is tired of his prim and proper lifestyle, and yearns for life off the leash. After falling in uncomfortably young puppy love and having a series of misadventures, he learns to appreciate what he's had all along, and he goes back home and lives happily ever after. As annoying as Scamp is with his constant whining about how good he has it, at least he has an actual character arc. The Queen's Corgi tells the story of a little corgi named Rex who thinks that he's God's gift to everyone and everything, and he revels in every waking moment of his own self-importance. You'd think that a protagonist with this kind of narcissism would learn a little humility as he's thrown into the dog pound and he makes a bunch of friends who he values more than himself, but no, that doesn't happen. The entire movie is about him reclaiming his place as Queen Elizabeth's top dog, and at no point does he learn a lesson about being an egotistical little douche noodle. So which is better? Lady and the Tramp 2. Although the Queen's Corgi did have that one cameo that was so great.
You shut your face!
Which is better? Muppet's Wizard of Oz or Dorothy's Christmas in Oz? It's absolutely amazing. You have one of the most beloved movies of all time in the MGM classic, The Wizard of Oz, and you'd think that anyone wanting to make anything connected to it would take a little more care in making it the best that it can possibly be. And you might think that the Muppets would be especially mindful of that, given how they've made what many would consider the greatest adaptation of A Christmas Carol of all time. But Muppet's Wizard of Oz just fails to deliver on every front. The casting of Dorothy was wrong, the Muppets themselves felt out of place in their own movie, the humor was awkward and a lot of it was just uncomfortable, the pop culture references and celebrity cameos felt forced even by Muppet standards, and for all of Dorothy's constant bitching about how she hates her boring life in Kansas, the timeless moral of, there's no place like home is completely unearned. As for Dorothy's Christmas in Oz, Yeah, it's a dumb little Christmas special with a dumb little premise. The continuity doesn't match up with the MGM film, of which they're obviously trying to be a part. But looking back at it, at least you can tell its heart was in the right place. It looks like it was at least trying to be the Wizard of Oz. Bizarre choice of doing nothing to make Dorothy look or sound like Judy Garland notwithstanding. So, which is better? Dorothy's Christmas in Oz. Which is better? Zombilenium or Daddy I'm a Zombie? Zombilenium's biggest problem was that it treated its cast of vampires, zombies, skeletons, and werewolves as creatures who aren't scary, but they're somehow expected to be scary in the context of a monster-themed amusement park. During business hours, they're supposed to be scary, but after business hours, they're just people as far as everyone else is concerned. I think. But for all this movie's confusion about the world it's trying to create, at least it has something to do with the title. Everything revolves around the park, Zombilenium, so it makes sense that the movie about monsters working there and trying to turn a profit with it would be named after the park. Daddy I'm a Zombie is about a depressed goth girl trying to stop Lady Everglot from taking over the world with some magical MacGuffin, and her daddy has no involvement in the story in any way whatsoever. How can you have a movie called Daddy I'm a Zombie, and the titular zombie doesn't tell her daddy that she's a zombie? Not only is the movie an unholy mess, but the entire thing is a lie. So, which is better? Zombilenium. Which is better? Mystery of the Batwoman or Batman and Harley Quinn? Mystery of the Batwoman kinda sorta reintroduces the forgotten Silver Age superheroine and reimagines her as a vigilante out for revenge, and the movie cheats its mystery by having 3 different women under the mask. It's frustrating to see the world's greatest detective figure out the mystery after the movie spoils it for us, but at least it's still the world's greatest detective trying to actually solve the mystery. Batman and Harley Quinn features the Dark Knight chasing after Poison Ivy, but for some reason, the movie decided to make him grossly incompetent and had to rely on Harley Quinn leading him around on some wild goose chase when he should be able to track Ivy all on his own. Instead, he's dragged along this way and that, and we're there the entire time enduring all of his indignities with him. The DC animated universe isn't above having a silly moment from time to time, but this whole thing feels like a bad parody. So, which is better? Mystery of the Batwoman.
I love how so many of these comparisons are making you look so pained.
I love you too. Which is better? Descendants, The Royal Wedding, or The Swan Princess, A Royal Wedding? Descendants, The Royal Wedding tells the badly animated story about how 2 boring, obnoxious putzes get married while completely neutering Hades, god of the underworld. The Swan Princess, A Royal Wedding, tells the slightly better animated story about 2 boring putzes who are beautiful and nothing else.
What else is there?
Witnessing the wedding of some other putzes who are only less boring because they come from a China, and all the profound mystical bullcrap that comes with it.
Because what else is there?
But to the Swan Princess's credit, it does have one saving grace, and it's a big one.
Your love comes to rescue me just in time. Giving all you reach me just in time. Everything, all I could do or love or sing now makes a new forever dream for us.
Queen Uberta and Lord Rogers have to be in disguise for reasons never explained, and Uberta is playing a world-famous opera singer who's been built up as having this horrible singing voice, but then she pulls this legitimately impressive singing from out of nowhere as she sings about how it doesn't matter that the world could be falling apart, because in the end, true love will always conquer. And regardless of how much that's actually earned from movie to movie, that has been the recurring theme of these Swan Princess movies. So, which is better? The Swan Princess, A Royal Wedding. Which is better? Tentacolino or Fantasy Island? As if a trilogy of animated Titanic movies where nobody dies wasn't insulting enough, the third, most batshit insane of the 3 somehow got an entire follow-up television series. While Tentacolino has things like The Lost City of Atlantis, megalomaniacal rats, and an army of toys with amnesia rays. Fantasy Island has pirate ghosts, sentient clouds, freakish anime children who are conceived, birthed, and aged to about 10 years within the span of a couple of days, talking wolves who are said to be the ancestors of gods, and I guess because everyone in this series is nuttier than squirrel poo, no one thinks this is weird. And the absolute worst part about this is that it lasts for 26 episodes! Not only is this show incomprehensibly insane, but it's so dragged out and boring that you can feel your brain cells dying as you watch it!
That's not the worst part. The ending is the worst part.
Oh, right, the ending. In my original review for Tentacolino, I pointed out that its predecessor, The Legend of the Titanic, is being narrated to us from one of the main characters, but then by the end of Tentacolino, he and the rest of our cast are marooned on this little piece of hell that they call Fantasy Island. But if he's on this island from which he's meant to spend the rest of his days, where he's supposed to live happily ever after, then that means that he was never able to go home to New York, which in turn means that he was never able to tell the story of The Legend of the Titanic, and if that movie ceases to exist, then the sequel ceases to exist as well. And then Fantasy Island had to ruin it by actually showing them going home. Somehow, the end of this stupid show makes the rest of it completely meaningless, since the entire point of ditching them on Fantasy Island was to keep their knowledge of Atlantis a secret, and it simultaneously validates all of this bullshit by allowing it to be told in the first place! So, which is better? You had to try pretty damn hard to make me say Tentacolino, but somehow Fantasy Island did it! Which is better, Zootopia or Beastars? Zootopia, ding.
Do it right.
I really gotta explain this one too. Zootopia tells the story of a young rabbit who wants to be the first bunny police officer in a metropolis where all kinds of anthropomorphic animals coexist, and in her quest to be seen in the eyes of society as more than just a cute little bunny, she also has to confront and deal with her own biases and prejudices about other species. It deals with some pretty heavy issues that you don't see in a lot of kids' movies, but it never feels judgmental or condescending. Beastars is similarly about an animal society where these different species have their own issues with each other that they need to deal with, but it's just awkward and pretentious. This wolf is presented to us like he's a victim of profiling, that he's unfairly accused of being the big bad wolf who's responsible for the murder of one of his fellow students. But sorry, not sorry, it doesn't help that he's going out of his way to look as creepy as possible, and he's not doing anything to change anyone's perception of him. Sure, Nick Wilde felt pretty hopeless about his own situation in that he didn't see any point in trying to convince people that he isn't as shifty and untrustworthy as foxes are generalized to be, but if he was accused of causing the night howler-induced panic that was going down, he wouldn't just lie down and take it. It also helps that Zootopia's animation is absolutely stunning, and it's fun to just lose yourself in this world and see how it was made to accommodate a society of countless different species. Beastars just looks like any other anime taking place in our world, and it's occupied by humans with animal heads. And what even is a Beastar anyway? So, which is better? Zootopia. Infinitely so. Which is better, 100% wolf or a Halloween puppy? One classic Halloween creature that can't be overlooked is the werewolf. You become this murderous, horrible, bloodthirsty monster who kills indiscriminately. Everyone that you love is put at risk. And as if that wasn't terrible enough, the only way to stop it is to kill yourself. So imagine my delight when I saw that someone had taken that concept and made a movie about a pack of werewolves who are a bunch of superheroes, and our main character in particular turned into a poodle for no reason. Yeah, spoiler alert, it sucked and I hated it. And of course the point of all of this is that we're all special in our own way. Yeah, that's nice and all, but when you're trying to be the leader of a pack of wolves, a superhero, or inexplicably both, turning into something that you can easily trip over is not a good thing. There is no reason for this kid to embrace turning into a poodle. And don't try to defend this thing by saying, but he got that supersonic howl, that's pretty cool, right? He only learned that he had that after he had already accepted the nothing that he is. What is that? You're rewarded with benefits to an otherwise crippling situation after you've already conceded to it? In a Halloween puppy, Eric Roberts turns into a dog, and that's about it. He's not a puppy. There's nothing particularly Halloween-y about him, save that the movie is taking place during the Halloween season. And somehow this was supposed to teach him how to be more faithful to his girlfriend, even though we see nothing about him having issues with that. Oh, and there's a subplot about anti-bullying, since that's relevant, I guess. So, which is better? A Halloween puppy. And that concludes this year's edition of Which is Better. I would like to propose a toast to you, my audience. Thank you all for being so great. Thank you all for watching, sharing, commenting, joining my Patreon, attending our live streams. Thank you all for just being awesome. Let's make year 13 a good one.
Year 13? Can't we just skip this year?
Don't worry, baby. Whatever hardships may happen in this potentially unlucky year, we'll get through them together. See you later. Raven says bye too.
You know there's something you should know, so I'm gonna tell you so. Don't sweat it, forget it, enjoy the show. Working all day, now it's time to unwind. Kick back, relax, take a load off your mind. I'll be busting the moves and I'll be busting the rhymes. We'll be busting up laughing cause it's party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Just leave your troubles at the door, leave your worries behind, leave the rest up to me, you're gonna like what you find. I'll be busting the moves and I'll be busting the rhymes. We'll be busting up laughing cause it's party time. Party time, it's party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time, party time. Everybody's feeling fine cause it's party time. Party time. It's party time.